Jim Shaw here from Crystal Group. Today we're going to talk a little bit with our tech director, Alan High, a little bit about portable packable systems and what Crystal Group's been doing with respect to transit case integration as well as mobile packable, airline packable types of units. And so, Alan, maybe you could describe a little bit about what we have in the first transit case here, which is really an earlier generation of product, kind of designed to be a mobile server type of class.
Sure. So this system, this transit case really is what it is. It includes this big rugged case. It then includes a big slide-out display. It's got a whole switch in it, as well as a whole server in it as well. These are all 19-inch style servers, rack-mounted. There's basically a little mini rack in this system. The benefits that it gets you is you get server-grade kind of performance in a relatively rugged platform. The downside is it's big. It's huge.
And it's heavy. I know that
yes.
I've just put it up on the table and may have a hernia.
Yes.
But, and so the nice thing about this is it is rugged. There's a lot of carbon fiber in this particular approach in packaging to try to limit the weight. And swap is really important, but in these kinds of transportable types of platforms, weight is huge because people have to lug these all over. And so one approach here is we've used a lot of carbon fiber ECS case, carbon fiber server. And so we're trying to limit the weight on that type of an application. And this really represents what, Alan, probably this is 5 years old?
At least 5 years old.
So this is kind of old technology. It's still good, still useful, server class performance, but at the same time, wow, it's just a little bit heavy.
And it just kind of has a different application. If you're moving someplace that you need a lot of your stuff and you're not moving after that, probably a good choice. But if you're moving around a lot,
like forward operating base or something like that, where you need to set up a temporary communication post, or you've got a bunch of servers, or I should say laptops that are plugged in. This would be a great application where you're making a comm center or something like that. Over here on this next example, we've got this is essentially a data download device where we're taking data off of an aircraft and then storing it using a very compact system that pulls the data from the drives and then stores that. Alan, you want to describe a little bit about what's inside this?
Sure. So this is just the case that we have, and inside there'll be what we call our RE2500, and it is basically a really compact system that has a ton of I/O and hard drive capabilities. In this case, the hard drives are specifically designed for the aircraft that are that this case is kind of targeted to. These aircraft have drives that they need to download, so they all plug directly into this box, and they're able to grab all that data and put it on here for storage. They can then clear those drives, put them back on the plane, plane's up and running.
Okay, and something interesting about this particular application is these weren't all Crystal form factor drives that we integrated. We actually used across the board a variety of different providers of drives so that we could download the whole aircraft.
Correct. Yep. Any of the drives that are on the aircraft, we can plug into this guy and they can get them up and running.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. This last example over here is kind of one of the latest things that Crystal Group has been working on, and this is the RE2500 series. And Alan, you want to talk a little bit about what's inside this and what some of the features are? This is an extraordinarily light, compact, aircraft packable type of a case with a lot of capabilities. Alan?
Sure. This has a 13th generation Core i series processor, so that supports for anywhere from the i3 to the i9 series processor. It can support 12th and 13th generations, so the latest and greatest. You can put up to 128 gigs of memory in here. The main claim to fame, though, is that it has a large amount of hard drive space available to it, and it has a lot of I/O capability. So this can go to a forward operating base or wherever and be able to extract data and store it on this system for use down the line. Jim, were you saying?
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna ask. I noticed it has a zeroization feature in here. and that is essentially to clear drives, correct?
Yes. So we're planning to make the sanitization function be actuated by this cool switch. I'm not going to press it now though, just in case. And that's just to be able to clear the drives. Say you're in a dangerous situation and there's important data on those drives that you don't want your adversary to have. You'd be able to flip that switch and the drives would be erased. Any keys or subsequent data points like that would be all erased.
So lots of I/O on this, and then lots of storage, and that's really probably the thing that sets this apart from, say, a laptop.
Yes.
Right?
The other main thing is it doesn't have any wireless capabilities. So for certain groups, wireless is kind of a big risk. So the lack of wireless here is actually an asset in some ways, although it is less connectivity in some ways. You would be able to also have it due to the plethora of I/O if you would need it in the field.
So no Bluetooth, no cameras,
Correct.
no wireless
Yep.
connectivity. So it's essentially radio silent, if you will.
Yep.
From that aspect. The other nice thing is the removable drives that are, I think we said up to 30 terabytes. Is that right, Alan?
That's correct. We're using the maximum size drives possible, so you can get up to around 30 terabytes of space, in addition to the operating system drive that's on the motherboard of the system.
So overhead packable. It's 34 pounds. It meets all the requirements for being able to take it on aircraft. Extraordinarily portable. This version is currently 120, 240 volt AC. We're working on a DC version, and then there's plans for putting a battery into the application for a short-term battery operation to be able to shut things down. Anything else you'd like to add, Alan?
I don't have anything to add, but I'd like to ask you, Mr. Display Expert, to tell us about the display.
This is a 17-inch LCD display that is essentially 4K in terms of its resolution, and it is extraordinarily high res for map modes or things like that, GPS, anything that's necessary to do there. We also have a version that is a 15.6 OLED display, which has a little bit better thermal characteristics or properties. This case has been tested. This system has been tested to 55 degrees C and passes with some margins. So we're pretty happy about the thermal performance on this, and I think it's going to be a good long-running product for the company. Anything else, Alan?
I think you've pretty accurately described the system. It's a overhead bin packable, lightweight powerhouse.
All right. Well, I hope that was interesting, and if you have any comments or questions, please drop us a line at www.crystalrugged.com.